Now, welcome to a very late version of Gavin Games. I appreciate you guys being here. I was not going to do a stream tonight. I got one planned for tomorrow, but it's good to see everybody who is here. Look, I only said, you know what, let's do this because this news drops. Now, let's be incredibly clear. No one knows if this is just a rumor. Let me tell you if you don't know what the news is, and then we can get into some real interesting possibilities and details and whatnot. In the meantime, though, seriously, thanks for being here. If you want to call in and talk about all this, you can call in. The Discord is open. Would love to get your feedback. Would love to get you onto the show. Otherwise, I will read the chat when I can. Okay, here we go. The news that just came out today is not really news, but it's a rumor. It's a rumor from a VentureBeat author, writer by the name, reporter, I suppose, by the name of Jeff Grubb. My understanding is Jeffrey Grubb has a mixed track record with his sources lately. From what I understand, he has been pretty spot on, but I know he was also the guy in the past that said, hey, I have news or sources that say that I think it was Game Pass or Games with Gold is going to be free. Obviously, that didn't happen. So, but I mean, no one is accurate 100% of the time. I wouldn't know. There are people in the chat already saying, no, Jaffe, this guy Jeff Grubb is not to be trusted. I don't know that. My understanding is he's been wrong. He's been right. It is what it is. So maybe it's a total fucking lie. Maybe it's not true. But let's be clear. The news, which is, I'll show it to you right now. The news, if it is true, the reason I even care... before I even go to the news, let me tell you something. You know what Microsoft has been rumored to do forever is buy Sega. Now, that still may happen. That rumor is still floating. Another rumor that's still floating that just got floated yesterday is that Microsoft is going to launch Battlefront 6, day one on Game Pass. I don't know. But I don't make a big deal out of it because you know what? It's who knows. This is who knows, but enough shit is going down at Sony that it kind of makes sense that it would be true. And here's the news. Here's the fucking deal. Basically, Jeff Grubb comes out and says that, a lot of people, I didn't even know this. There was a game that Sony put out today called Abandon, which was a trailer, and people were like, oh, this is a Kojima game. This is one of his crazy, Fox engine lies where it's really his game. And there was some research done. And it's like, no, this is actually a real game. They're saying made by this company, Blue Box. That wasn't the case. But that led to this article from Jeff Grubb where he says he does have a source, and it's not the first time we've heard it, by the way, that says, and it's not just the fact that that basically says Kojima is in contact and discussions and negotiations with Xbox about getting a game on their system. We have to assume it's first party. We have to assume it's Game Pass. And we also have to assume that it will be obviously exclusive, probably PC and Game Pass. And that, there was this. So people in the chat were like, oh, just because you're responding to this little Kojima statue on the shelf. No, I mean, maybe Phil Spencer was being silly and coy and all that shit, but this is not what it's about. It's about the fact that this guy, Jeff Grubb, is saying he has a source that says this is the real fucking deal. Is it? I guess we'll find out soon enough. I will say, Kaiden, I don't know who Grubb is either. Mutant Mo says he loves Grubb. I have no fucking clue who Jeff Grubb is. I mean, I know who he is, but it's not like I follow his work, so I don't really have a lot to say about the guy's authenticity except to say that, yeah, it sounds like he, it sounds like he gets it right sometimes. So here's what's interesting to me about this, though, is that, yeah, in the chat, somebody, Mutant Mo says, I've never seen Microsoft like this, so exciting. I think that's the reason that these rumors are sticking. Whether or not this one turns out to be true or not, we're going to take it regarding this, regarding this rumor, we're going to take it regarding this stream that it possibly is true, and we're going to discuss it as such. But ultimately, I think they stick because people are seeing a side of Xbox and seeing a side of Microsoft that we have not seen in a long time, if ever. I do have people in the chat right now saying that Grubb is reliable, says King. Hamad says he's very trustworthy. Mayhen67 says he's correct 70% of the time. So yeah, there you go. I'm not suggesting anything. You guys know more about him than I do. But all I'm suggesting is that if he is right, this is absolutely big news. Is it a big deal is really the question. And the reason I ask that is for the moment, let's assume that this particular deal is going to happen. And that Hideo Pajamas, that's the kid version in the cartoon series coming to ABC this fall. Hideo Kojima is going to make something for the Xbox. Let's assume that's absolutely true. Here's a reason you might also want to believe it's absolutely true. All of his allies at Sony, and I don't mean to make it sound like a war with the word allies, but all of the people that he knows, Andy House is gone. Shuhei's not ruling the roost anymore. Alan Becker is gone. All of the Sony Japanese guys that are kind of into the quirky shit like Silent Hill and Siren and all that, they're gone. All that's left over there is Astrobot, which is not to say that means he's out. He's not going to work with Sony. But there is something to be said, especially when you have drank from the waters of Sony's creative freedom and that is pulled from you. I mean, imagine this is a guy, Kojima, who basically got carte blanche with Andy House. Now, I don't know the numbers on Death Stranding. I don't think most people would suggest that it was a massive hit. Maybe it was profitable, but it wasn't what people wanted it to be in terms of sales. And you know that. You may think it's brilliant. A lot of people do, but it was probably the most expensive art house game ever made. Okay, we can all agree to that. And it sold like an art house game, okay? So ultimately, I don't think Big Jimbo Ryan is over there going, hey, Kojima, come back and take another 180 million or 100 million or 80, however much it was, and give us another arty farty game. So Kojima might be like, go fuck yourself, dude. I'm fucking Kojima. And Phil Spencer's reaching out with an Andy House deal. Now, maybe Phil Spencer's deal is, look, we're not going to be able to pay you. We've talked a little bit about the possibility of this. We're not going to be able to pay you Sony money in terms of the budget, but I'll tell you what, you'll have your creative freedom. You give us a $30 million Kojima joint, you can do whatever the fuck you want, and you will have total freedom to do it, and we will promote it on Game Pass, and you will be sitting pretty, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if Kojima's looking at Sony like a foreign land at this point. Because, a lot of people are like, personally, not to compare my success or talents or hits to Kojima, but a lot of people were like, Jaffe, you broke away from Sony, but you always worked with Sony. It's like, yeah, because they always gave you freedom. Well, there's a couple people still left at Sony in America that if I was to make another game, I would, even though Sony may not publish it, I would certainly go to Sony first, because there are a couple people left that I'm like, those motherfuckers still are cut from that DNA of early Sony. But a lot of them, I talked to a buddy of mine today about some Sony stuff, and he said to me, he used to work there. No, he still works there. He said, Jaffe, the company that you and I worked for back in the day, he's like, the company I work for now, the company we worked for together, that's gone, right? It is absolutely gone. So it wouldn't surprise me. Okay, so here becomes the question. If it is true, here's the fantasy for a lot of hardcore gamers. If it is true, with all the money that Microsoft has, and with, like Mutant Mo in the chat points out, the ferocity with which Microsoft is digging into this next generation, really going, look, this is, it's almost like, it's got the kind of powerful desperation of someone with nothing to lose. Maybe Phil Spencer's like, look, they said they're gonna shut us down if we don't make it work. Fuck it, I'm throwing everything at the wall. I don't give a fuck, right? That's what it just has. It has a kind of energy that we don't see coming from Sony, in my opinion. You may disagree. I love my PS5. I love a lot of the Sony games, but I don't sense that urgency, that hungry power that we're getting from Xbox, right? So it wouldn't surprise me, although this is all speculation. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if tomorrow we wake up and Kojima's like, do you like it? And it turns out, no, he's sticking with Sony, or no, he hasn't announced anything. This is all just rumor right now, okay? But it wouldn't surprise me if Microsoft said, hey, not only do we want you, Kojima, but we have acquired, not for good, but we have gotten Konami. We have paid them a chunk of change for either Silent Hill and or Metal Gear Solid. come on over to Microsoft, come on over and let's make ourselves a brand new chapter. Now, the question then becomes, would you rather have them do that? Or would you rather have them do a new game? Here's an even bigger question. I don't think Xbox, Game Pass, certainly Kojima, right? Because Kojima doesn't rule the roost anymore when it comes to sales, right? Metal Gear 5 sold 3 million. Metal Gear 4 only sold 6 million. Silent Hill 2, which was sort of the standard bearer, made news when it broke 1 million. I'm not saying these games don't have hardcore rabid fans, but I don't know if it makes sense for him to make those games or make something new, right? I could see Jim Ryan saying, "Hey, Kojima, come work with us at Sony again, but you got to do something a little more commercial." And Kojima's like, "I can't tell you how fast to go fuck yourself, Jim Ryan, but it needs to be fast." I don't know if he said that, of course. I'm just saying that I could see it. You get that taste of freedom. You don't go back. You can't go back. It's impossible. Trust me, I know. Okay? But the other thing is with Xbox Game Pass, my gut would tell me they're not going to go to Kojima and say, make a 40-hour game. We don't have the budget for that, right? But if they went to Kojima and said, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can make PT. You can make a Silent Hill. You can make a spy game. Whatever the fuck you want, Kojima. But you have enough money for a single-player game that's going to run anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, and that's it. Now, I know that for me personally, I would love that. I would love games being short. But a lot of Kojima fans are hanging out in the chat right now. I recognize that. Would that bother you? Like, would you rather have Kojima making a Metal Gear or a Silent Hill or a horror game, but it's in its total creative freedom, but it's only going to be it's only like a 5-hour game, right? What would you feel? Or you're like, no, I'd rather him be controlled and reined in, and he gives us like a big fucking epic. That would be a real question for me, because I know some of y'all absolutely cannot stand the short games, which I don't understand. I like that Microsoft is doing well, says Fluffer. What can Sony do in response? We'll talk about that in just a minute. Let me get through all the news, and then I will jump to the chat, and I will give you guys my full attention. Mike22 says 6 hours to 10 hours. Yes, please. I'm with you. Kojima doesn't get to decide, says Learn to Swim, if he makes Silent Hill or Metal Gear. Well, sure he does. If Phil Spencer goes to Kojima and says, hey, Kojima, look, we want to work with you. And he says, well, I'm talking to Jim Ryan right now. And Phil Spencer says, okay, I get it. But what do you want to do? If you had all your wishes, you say, I want to make Silent Hill. I want to go back and make PT what me and Del Toro said it was supposed to be. And Phil Spencer says, you know who I happen to have on speed dial is the president of Konami. It's a white dude. Is it a Gaijin is what they call him? Sanders somebody? It's not what you'd think. Some white-haired old man looks like Mike Pence. And he says, I got him on speed dial. He says, yeah, Microsoft's willing to pay us $15 million for a one-shot. And don't think there's not a precedent. You know how much Netflix just paid, I forget which movie studio owned Knives Out? Netflix just wrote a check for $400 million, almost $500 million to get the rights to make the movies to Knives Out. That movie studio that was making tons of money was like, yeah, you can have it, but we're going to sell it to you. Well, nobody's making money off Metal Gear. Konami would probably go like, yeah, give us 30 million, give us 20 million, and it'll fucking stab the back in Sony. Come on, you know they do it. I love shorter games, says Bookster. I do too. 40-hour games are hard to complete. I'm with you. But the other, I saw somebody online floating this idea that, Jaffe, all this really is if it's true, this is simply, going to be an announcement that Death Stranding is coming to Xbox. It came to be, I don't think that's true, but I think that would be a real letdown. Although somebody in the chat did say Stranding is a great Game Pass game. I could see that. It's one of those weird games that I think once you get it, you'd try it, and you'd be like, oh, this is, a lot more people would get into it. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but I don't think it's what people want. I think at this point, people are like, okay, Kojima, you got that little art thing out of your system. Now give us Kojima that is, wrapped enough in the candy that we don't taste the medicine going down. You know what I'm saying? Remedy is making a PlayStation game. That is absolutely true. Okay, so where did that go? I wanted to read this. So made a really good point, but I lost it. I'm sorry. Let me go back and get it real quick. Hang on. Yeah, on Game Pass as Mayhem, the length can be whatever you want. 5 hours, 20 hours, both are good. A shorter game will have a shorter dev time. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Davakin89 drops super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, didn't Kojima just have a game with Stadia canceled? Yes, well, kind of. I don't think the game was in production. There was a contract or what they call them what do they call it? It's been a while since I had one. It's called a LOI, letter of intent, right? And the letter of intent basically is enough to make the developer feel comfortable that it's going to take us about 3 months to get all the paperwork together, but we are signing an official document, letter of intent, that says we are going to make this game with you, Kojima. My understanding is it was kind of at that phase, and then when Stadia said we're getting rid of first party, it kind of went the way of the dodo. So Phil Spencer may have heard that news and said, or he may have been, don't tell me this motherfucker who's ambitious as fuck is not circling Kojima way before this anyway. So, but yes, you are absolutely right. His game with Stadia was canceled. Devin, hello, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. He says, Jaffe, would you be against Xbox making an episodic game exclusively to Game Pass? No, I would not. I would absolutely not. I think games are games are games. And there are games that work as episodic, and there are games that work as standalone, and there are games that work at 2 hours, and there are games that work at 30 hours. There are games that work never ending. They say Halo is going to be a 10-year service game, but it's still going to be a linear, or not a linear, but a single-player narrative. I don't fucking know. But I think it's totally based on the game itself. So here's the question. If this happens... Oh, Rotten Tanaku, that's a great point. I'll get to that in a minute. If it happens, does it really move the needle? Okay. Again, MGS 5, 3 million, MGS 4, the last great Metal Gear, in my opinion, 6 million, right? I mean, that's good, but it's not franchise good, right? What do you think? Do you think Kojima is the name? I mean, when they say we're getting Elder Scrolls, when they say we're getting what did they announce? I guess Doom, maybe. You know, those kind of make sense. Like, oh shit, that's seismic. The Meltdown, says Phil Swift, I agree, will be legendary. It's a great feather in your cap. But does Kojima really move the needle in sales anymore, right? And I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm not questioning it like, see? I'm looking right now, Chongo, Metal Gear 5 says 3 million. But even so, okay, I mean, I'm not casting aspersions. I'm not taking the shit on Kojima. I love Kojima. I don't care for Death Stranding that much from when I play, but I love Metal Gear. And I really enjoyed Zone of the Enders. He's one of my favorite developers, okay? I'm just saying that, do you think it's going to matter beyond just the news and the hardcore fanboys? The rumor is they're doing this to get the Japanese on board, which is interesting because the Japanese are not on board mostly because, they've just moved on. They're not, they're handheld. Maybe Kojima's like, yeah, I'll do it with you, but I want to be on the xCloud so I can be on mobile phones. I don't fucking know. David, you're not wrong. David says Kojima is greater than Bethesda. Creatively, I think you're probably right. I'm talking about sales, though. Forget Me Not, thank you for the super chat. He says, isn't Kojima close with Herman Hulst, though, and GG? Guerrilla Games? Sure, but so what? I mean, you can be close with people, but, I'm close with people at Sony to this day, but they still canceled our last game. There's business to do, I don't think so. 9 Lives. I do wonder, it did get me thinking. 9 Lives is not joking, I think, but I'm joking, where he says a bigger name than Kojima would be Jaffe. Yeah. But what I do wonder is who would they go for outside? Because there aren't really named designers anymore. Miyamoto is not really working like he used to work. Cliff is out of the game at the moment. He tweeted last night he might get back in. I think a commercial shooter with Cliff Bleszinski could probably be, although he's not he's not really a big name anymore either in terms of, It's not going to guarantee a sale. So I don't know. I think at that point you're talking more like a license. You know, go to Kojima and say, Kojima, we want you to do a Doctor Strange game. I mean, that would be fucking crazy. But Alex says, aren't Japanese players shifting more towards mobile? They have been for a long time. I don't know how they are with cloud infrastructure, but yeah, if they are absolutely trying to get the Japanese market. And I'm sure they want to sell Game Pass over there, but maybe they're like, yeah, but we can sell it on mobile phones. We can sell it on TVs. We don't have to sell it through the S or the X. I don't know. I have no idea. I can't think of a lot of big video game auteurs either, says Buckteeth Bandit. Yeah, I can't either. Wiley Coyote, thank you, sir. He says, adding Kojima Xbox is looking really compelling. I mean, they are on an absolute tear right now. Now, I'm going to tell you, all I'm going to tell you is check in tomorrow. Sir Gallahan says Remedy's making a Doctor Strange game with Sony and Marvel. Is that true? I've read that rumor. Boy, that would be a barn goddamn burner, wouldn't it? That would be a goddamn barn goddamn burner. It would be amazing. David says the big names are all at Sony. I don't know if I agree with that, but I hear you. I read what you're saying. Maybe they could get Miyazaki or the creator. The creator of Ninja Gaiden is kind of, you know, there was a time, and I was kind of in that zeitgeist of creators where we were known, and Itagaki was one of them. But I don't think most people care. You know, I mean, fans care. But, you know, it doesn't move the needle like it used to, if it ever really did. So I don't really think getting Itagaki would matter either. But yes, I agree, Nine Lives. Phil is making a lot of moves. Gil says, I'm a little late, but Kojima already talked about short projects, so it wouldn't be surprised for an 8-hour game from Microsoft. I did not know that was the case, that he had talked about that, but I got to tell you, I'm glad to hear that he did talk about that, because that is exactly the kind of shit. I'm gonna just tell you something right now. I'm not telling you forget me not. I'm gonna tell you something right now, and you're not gonna believe me, and that's okay. But you will ultimately become a true believer. Okay, when you guys start getting, when you get a Kojima game, and that man's going fucking crazy with his imagination, and it's a 5-hour motherfucking game, right? Or if you can get, Davakin, thank you for the super chat. If you can get Tango Gameworks, the guy who did what? RE4. And you're like, look, just go crazy, man. Just fucking, remember all the things you guys say you love about Sony back in the day. They were weird, they were quirky, they were experimental. They didn't give a shit. They just tried shit, right? All you guys that hate Game Pass, that's fine. You can hate it. But that's the kind of shit that this could bring you. Because what do you think? You think Kojima wants to go work if what they say about the new Sony is correct? Not Scott Rohde's Sony, not Connie Booth's Sony, or not Scott Rohde's, but just the kind of corporate where everything's so expensive and you can't really have a miss and you can't flex your creative muscles. If that's true, you think people like Itagaki and Kojima want to fucking go basically into the fucking Matrix and work for Suits? Or do you think they want Phil Spencer there with 10 million, 12 million bucks, and it's like, baby, go have fun? Come on now. You know that's true. You know that's true. And you know as a gamer, you will love that shit, and I will love that shit, and we will love that goddamn shit together. That's a great point, you old son of a bitch. Saad Khan says a 5-hour long game will only be the opening cutscene for a Kojima game. That is true, you son of a bitch. They will have to do something. Can you imagine he drops off the code on Phil Spencer's desk a year and a half from now? He's like, I'm done. Do you like it? And Phil Spencer's like, the game doesn't load. It just does the movie. And Kojima's like, well, yeah, that's all it is. Oh my God. Tango Gameworks. Oh my God, dude. Tango Gameworks. I am super excited. Super fucking excited. He already invested in the Decima engine. Why would he abandon that instead of building on it? Because engines come and go. Who gives a shit? It's an engine. If you're saying he financially invested, maybe he's got money riding on it, he'll make money. Fine. I don't know what you mean when you say invested. But if you're saying his team knows how to work on it, who gives a shit? Go work on Unreal. It doesn't matter. It's an engine. engine that you know versus uh, 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 creative freedom, you're going to go creative freedom every goddamn time if you're actually good, and he's good. Mahan says, yes, it's why the Game Pass model is superior. Devs can take risks. The pressure of high sales is not there. Well, I think there's still pressure, but they can take risks. Let me get some of these super chats, which I very much appreciate. Wiley Coyote drops one. He says, has Microsoft contacted you in the last 12 months? I was going to read it. You didn't have to pay me twice, sir. Whenever a super chat comes in, I guarantee you I will read it. If not, I'll read it next time, but I've only missed once. But he drops another super chat, says, Jaffe, would you secure the bag if Microsoft hit you up? Microsoft has not. Oh, it is. Cosmic is totally speculative. Nobody knows. Engine development is not that easy. Yes, that's why you use Unreal. That's why most developers don't write their own engine like Decima. Microsoft has not contacted me. I'm going to tell you something interesting that happened. So I reached out to my agent today at UTA, and I have not talked to this guy in a very long time. He's wonderful. He is the biggest agent in the goddamn video game business. I've made that guy a whole amount of $0 since I left Bartlett Jones, right? So I half expected, even though he's a good guy, loyal guy, but I half expected him to say, oh, Jaffe, no, I'm not working with you anymore. You burned too many bridges. No fucking way. But he's like, yeah, what do you got? And we talked about something going on, and who knows what'll happen with it, but we had that conversation, right? So my point to that, though, is the idea that, you know, have I burned bridges with Phil Spencer? Probably. I don't care. I mean, look, I'm not going to lie to people. Here's what I'll tell you. And this is not about me. This is about Kojima. Okay, but let me just be clear real quick, and we'll get right back on track. When I do a job, and I'm not always good at my job, but I always guarantee you I try my best to serve the customer as best as I can. So when I do this show, I tell you, such as it is, my version of the truth. I do the best I can to be authentic and genuine about what I know. And what I know is Phil Spencer is a fucking crackerjack executive. He is amazing for Microsoft. He is a shit manager. And if he's not a shit manager, Matt Booty's a shit manager. And if Matt Booty's a shit manager, who's responsible? Phil Spencer. All right? You don't fuck up product development as consistently and chronically as that studio has without there being some rot at the top when it comes to that role. Okay? There you go. So I don't think he would hire me. But that said, I don't care. I'm having too much fun doing this anyway. Adam Mass drops super chat. Thank you, pal. He says, I miss prototypes. What is prototype? Things are too corporate now. I'll read it again. I'm going to try. I don't want you to have to super chat because you already paid once, but I don't know what that means. You mean the game prototype? Like the game sort of like the fucking Infamous game? I'm not sure if that makes any sense. Y'all probably don't understand that Kojima team has contributed to Decima. It's all hours worked and hours funded by Sony as the teams build and skill. I'm sure that's true, Chongo. I'm not, again, what I'm telling you is, I don't think Decima was used for Until Dawn. I think Decima was used for Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm pretty sure. What I'm telling you, though, is if you are Hideo Kojima, and it is clear from the beginnings of the work we saw with this guy. I mean, isn't this the same motherfucker who made the GBA game that you could only play if you were outside in the sunlight? I mean, this guy is not to be boxed in. It seems like he's not unlike me, other than he's a lot more talented and successful, in that he would rather cut out his own heart than just go to work at a video game factory. He is an artist. Now, I am an artist of schlock. I am an artist of vulgarity, and yet I am an artist. It comes from my soul. Kojima is a higher brow artist, and yet he is still an artist. For Hideo Kojima to say, I would love to have that creative freedom, Phil Spencer, but our guys are invested in the Decima engine. Come on. No. I don't. Yeah, that's right. Budokai is what it was called. So, but, you know, we'll have to see. But is it Botkai or Budokai? But it was the GBA game where you either couldn't get any powers if you weren't out in the sunlight or something like that. It was very weird, and it was the first time I ever heard of Hideo Kojima, and I was like, "Are you shitting me? What the fuck is this?" And everything from, you know, Psycho Mantis and on It was like, this motherfucker comes to play, okay? There is no brow higher than the Jaffe brow. Thank you, Novodamus. I appreciate that. Brian E. says, Kojima not having interest in PlayStation 5 feels weird. It might feel weird, but it makes sense. I'll get to that in a minute. Unless something happened that we're not aware of. Yes, I don't think there's any bad blood between him and Sony. There doesn't have to be bad blood, okay? Let me just lay it out. Let me get Danny Mitchell first, Brian, and then I will lay this out for you. Rotten Tanaku, you can ask me for some dirt, sure. Let me get Danny first. Danny says, Kojima and cloud has me more interested, meaning the cloud system, meaning like Microsoft Cloud is what you mean. There's thousands of players, an entire world, destruction if they fixed it. Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. Then you just get into subjective bullshit, right? You're not wrong. And by the way, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. You're not wrong, but I don't want to play a Kojima multiplayer game. I want Kojima's weirdness to be in his story, in his character design, in some of his mechanics. I have no interest in it's 20,000 players all online at the same time. I need him to take me by the hand as a creator. This is my fantasy. For 5 hours, take me by the hand and show me, what is it that Pinhead says in Hellraiser? We have such wonderful sights to show you. Give me that, Kojima. I don't want this fucking crazy acid game with fucking cards, and I don't want fucking Death Stranding where it's like, unless you have other people play. Just stop. What you're really good at is storytelling and making it interactive. Go fucking do that. But it's his money. It's his money. In terms of if Phil Spencer, it's the proper deal. But yes, to answer your question, Brian, where he says it feels weird to have Kojima not on PlayStation, it goes back to the quote my buddy who's at Sony and was there when I was at Sony said, which is, Jaffe, Sony, that you and I worked there, that's company's gone, okay? And he's not saying that company's bad that's there, but it is a much more conservative, creative company now. And that's not bad. You have to be creatively conservative when you are spending north of $200 million. You have to. Because if you fail, what gets wiped out is massive. And it's not always recoverable, okay? So these people that we have grown to love as developers and be fans of, we grew up in, I was their age, but we grew up into fans of theirs because they worked at a time where they had a level of freedom, because the budgets weren't insane to do not exactly whatever the fuck they wanted, but a lot of whatever the fuck they wanted. And now it's no surprise if Kojima does say, Kojima signed with Sony for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is Andy House said you can do whatever you want. I don't know this, but I can almost guarantee you Jim Ryan's not saying, Kojima, you can do whatever you want. He's saying, yeah, we'll work with you again, but there's no fucking way you're going to make some art game. I can't do it. I can't risk it. You can tell in the games they released that a lot of the creativity and charm has been sucked out. Yeah, and again, that's not, I think it bothers me a little bit because I do share that message with people, but people think that I am being a dick to someone like Jim Ryan. Like Hussein in the chat says it's the Jim Ryan effect. If I was Jim Ryan, if you were Jim Ryan, you would do the same. Jim Ryan is not a bad executive right now. If he doesn't respond to Game Pass, he's horrible. But right now, what would you do? If the guys who made Parappa the Rapper came to you and said, we need $128 million to make our next singing game, it's going to still be, do how I start the car or whatever the fuck with the chicken and cracking the egg in the bowl. But now we're going to motion capture the chicken and we're going to use DNA of it's still fucking, the fucking, Parappa game. So I'm just saying, I think we're all a little Jim Ryan. We're all a little Jim Ryan. That's all in our hearts. But I don't think these creators want that. I think there's different creators. Somebody in the chat said, oh yeah, The Last of Us 2, that's real conservative. Jackie Green says that. But here's the deal. I don't know what's happening. Well, I do know, but I'm not going to tell you. I don't know what's happening with The Last of Us 2 in terms of sales. But I can tell you that it was not conservative, and that did hurt sales. Did it hurt it enough to matter? I don't fucking know. I've been trying to find that out. I don't have any of that data. Brian E. says that makes sense. Kojima's always been thinking out of the box with the games he tries to put out. Yeah. I mean, again, yes, I'll do a pinhead emoji. You got it. Where was, it's not like all these decisions Jim Ryan's been making speak to a company that is really bleeding edge and creative. Yeah, Parappa was awesome. It was fantastic. If I was Jim Ryan, says Gnome Wizard, I would be funding smaller games that don't cost $200 million. Well, I would as well. I would still be funding the $200 million games because that's where their bread is currently buttered. But I would absolutely be funding a bunch of $10 and $20 million games that are day one on, PS Now. They should be kicking themselves if this deal is true. Because they should have gone to Kojima and said, we're going to give you $20 million, do whatever the fuck you want again. Total freedom. But it's going to be $20 million, and it's going to be day one Game Pass. Not Game Pass, PS Now. Absolutely. But yeah, they killed Japan Studios, and it was the right thing to do because they weren't making any goddamn money for them for the most part. But that's not Kojima. What are you talking about? Conservative, meaning that Last of Us, God of War, Horizon, Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, all of those are very stratified in the template genre that sells well. You guys saw it like I did. All of the things that a lot of us grew up on were coming up gaming with were specific genres, right? It was RPGs, racing, this, that, and the other. GTA 3 comes along and pretty much says, yeah, fuck genres, everything's the same fucking thing, okay? And since that day, the commercial genres, not always, certainly not like competitive shooters, but for the most part, the commercial genres are the ones that just say it's an experience, if we're talking single player. That's what I'm talking about, conservative. I'm saying that it is... They're not taking these crazy risks and gambles, except like Death Stranding, which was not a good bet, right? They're not really doing. Ratchet's out there, but Ratchet's also a franchise they already have. I would venture if they were trying to get a new platformer off, they would absolutely not. Last of Us got caught in a perfect storm. The leak hurt the game big time, but they tried to blame conservatives. Yeah, I don't think anybody really. I don't think anybody really fucking knows because they haven't released the numbers. But you absolutely we all we can do on that issue in that front is speculate. Unfortunately, we don't really get to know that. I would say God of War 2018 was definitely more conservative than the old God of War games. Yeah, they're safe. That's right. There's a great Buckteeth Bandit says they're safe. They're not safe in terms of production. They're very high wire acts in terms of production, but they're safe in that even if it's good enough, you can make your money back probably, right? You're not risking something crazy weird and unique and fresh and you're breaking molds. You're going, the audience gets this. This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is, this is Fast and the Furious. It's not as dumb as Fast and the Furious mostly, but it's popcorn, and Sony does it brilliantly. But there was a time when they were a bit popcorn and they were a bit weird. What was that fucking show on MTV where it was like crazy cartoons and shit? It was like there was a time when they really straddled that line. I think Sony, says Roubaix, feels they don't need to have their own studio make smaller indie games when they can go out and buy timed exclusives. You may be right, but they need to suggest that as well, because right now Sony has not said anything about that. Microsoft literally 3 weeks ago had an entire indie showcase where they said all 40 of these games are going to be on Game Pass day one, and they were all indie games. Shuhei is brilliant. Shuhei is exactly the guy they want running their indie division. But Liquid Television, there you go. Dreams was risky last year. And guess what? That wasn't a Jim Ryan joint at all. And I guarantee you, Jim Ryan, I don't guarantee you, but I'm almost certain Jim Ryan is not sitting around going, we need more of that. I'm telling you, I don't know, but I'm telling you from the people I know that have boots on the ground there, nothing's wrong with the man. He seems like a decent fellow, but that's not who he is. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit about weird and quirky. I mean, he just doesn't. That's what I hear. And then the proof is in the pudding. It's based on what he does. Sony takes more risk on new games and IPs than any other publisher, says Wetzler. Well, yeah, but again, we're talking about the template of the games. We're not talking about we're not talking about IP. Certainly, Ghost of Tsushima is new. But the template of Ghost of Tsushima is very cookie cutter. I loved it. One of my favorite games. That's why they work, because people love them. But, you know, to say that they are wonderful at creating new IPs. I love Sony's IPs. But I'm sorry, you can't convince me that they are drinking from the same creative well that they used to be drinking from, where they were a lot more blisteringly creative. And Dreams, yeah, you can't, Jam to Josh is right. You can't really put Dreams at the feet of Jim Ryan. PSVR 2, you can. I'm stunned. I'd love to know that story. Why are the fuck they're working on that? And you guys know I'm not a VR hater, but that seems like a waste of money. That doesn't seem like something Jim Ryan would be behind, but it is clearly. Valentin, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, what's up, brother? Not much, doing the stream. How you doing? I hope the Kojima rumor is true, he says, if only to see unreasonable fanboys freak out. You know what? Here's the deal. I hope it's true as well. Okay. I want it to be true. Okay. But here's why I want it to be true. I don't agree with you. Nintendo is not the king of IP soap. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here's why I want it to be true. Not because I want fanboys to suffer, not because I want Sony to suffer, but it's all the stuff you guys always say that maybe is just lip service, which is competition is good for gamers, right? If Kojima goes to Xbox, and look, the worst thing that would happen is Kojima goes to Xbox, makes a game, and nobody cares. Right? Is that it's like, Jesus, he can only seem to work well. Somebody in the chat was like, I hate to say it, but Kojima seemed to only really do well when he was at Konami because he had people saying no to him. He certainly is a guy like George Lucas in that sense, that he needs somebody to put their foot down and say, dude, you can't have a 90-minute cutscene. It's ridiculous, right? But ultimately, though, if he goes to Microsoft and it doesn't work, that sucks for a lot of reasons. But if he goes and it works, well, then Sony's going to be like, well, fuck, I guess that kind of game works and we have to compete. And now let's put Neil Druckmann on that. Let's put Cory Barlog on that. Let's put one of the designers on God of War 2018 that everybody loved, including me, that was an unsung hero, kind of like Pixar does when they find new directors. It's like, okay, Lasseter is, I guess, a creep and Pete Docter's doing 2 movies at a time. Let's bring this person who is the AD or the creative director assistant on up to make their own movie now. I mean, I think that would be fantastic. Why not have, this is a super chat, which I appreciate. This is a super chat from Gene. Gene says, why not have SIE Japan make PSVR 2 games or combine teams for a AAA game versus closing? It doesn't make sense to remove talent. Sure, it makes sense to remove talent. It makes perfect sense to remove talent. If you are building a building, a high-rise skyscraper, and you have incredibly talented singers on the payroll, it makes sense to spend that money on people who are going to build you the high rise. A lot of the people at Japan are, again, of the generation of game makers that showed up and did amazing work when the budgets were different and when the business was different. They, understandably, correctly so, are still walking around going, look, I don't want to just kind of become a corporate cog in someone's machine, making what Jim Ryan and his collective, round table of decision makers have said we can make. That's not how they came up. People ask me all the time. They say, Jaffe, why aren't you making games right now? And I'm like, honestly, I'm enjoying doing this a lot more right now. But the second reason is, I need to work with people that make me feel like Sony made me feel. They pushed back, but they were creative. They gave me freedom. That is hard to find. And once you've tasted that freedom, I wouldn't. It would be less painful for me, and certainly if someone of Kojima's talent, I would have to agree, would be more painful. It would be less painful for me and less painful, I imagine, for Kojima to simply not make games anymore than it would to make games, but every week I have to get an approval from a producer of, is this okay? Is this what marketing said you guys wanted, right? You want it to be funny, but not edgy, right? Because you want to get this demographic. Fuck that. Fuck that. That is not why a lot of these guys that have left Japan are in. So the idea that you're going to bring them onto a AAA game, they're either going to quit of their own volition or they're going to be like, I don't know what you mean by demographic, but isn't this robot really cool that has a big butt? I don't know why that's creative, but again, I'm an artist of the vulgar, so to me that's creative. Shinda, thank you so much for the super chat. He didn't say anything, she didn't say anything, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much, buddy. Drawn to Death would have done great in Game Pass, says somebody with a blank name. I don't know if that's true, but I appreciate your faith. Agreed, says Alex Kills. Microsoft can afford to have Kojima make some ridiculous, wild new IP. Not only can they afford it, but they need it. They need to build the same goodwill that Sony has built with their IP. And that's the ironic part, is that they can play not only from the same playbook, but with Game Pass, they have the freedom, the creative financial freedom to play from the same game book that made Sony the company that so many of you guys are defending and in love with. That company is gone. Maybe Phil Spencer's building it. He can't produce it. Man can't produce sperm. But that said, he's got the right business idea. Chongo says Kojima's next game is going to be a Game Pass PS5 exclusive, not released on Xbox or PC, but Microsoft is the first game on their PS5 app. No, I don't think that's true. Saber Zero says, I heard marketing gave Jaffe sass, so he took a dump on a marketing director's desk. You know, I would not do that. Marketing never really had much of a problem with me. PR had a big problem with me consistently. And I always tried to be respectful. Whenever I work for a company and I represent a company, I can't, you know, when I'm in the process of representing them, I just can't be unfiltered. But I am absolutely unfiltered, you know, when I'm not representing a company. But, you know, I was always very respectful of the fact that they had they had a multi-billion-dollar business to run. And they don't need some loudmouth like me that probably would be more at home at Devolver or New Blood than a huge corporation like Sony. I respected that. I did my best to toe the line. Why do I find myself playing the PS exclusive so much, says Cosmic? I don't fucking know. I was talking to my Sony friend today about that, and he's like, what is there on PS5? I said, well, you know, I went through the launch titles, and he's like, yeah, but what do they have coming next? And obviously there's Returnal, but I want you to think about this just for a brief fucking moment. Just think about this real quick. I would appreciate it if you do. So whatever you think of Xbox, right? Well, there you go, Hamad. That's brilliant to know. Tim Schafer, who is certainly no Kojima in terms of sales, but he's a goddamn force of nature. He's a creative tornado. He says in multiple interviews, Xbox is giving him total freedom. How could you not want to go there if you're a creator? I mean, there's another news story that's going to be breaking pretty soon. And this is not the thing happening very soon. This is like a week from now. I'll be talking about it. But let's just say that there's another story coming out that will make anybody out there that's considering going into AAA development once again think, perhaps I don't want to do that, right? If you're Tim Schafer, if you're Kojima, if you're Cliff, if you're me, the idea of going into a sausage factory and just, no, go fuck yourself, right? That's not what people like us want to do. So I'm telling you, yeah, if Phil Spencer knows enough to give Tim Schafer freedom, you goddamn right he's going to be giving Hideo Kojima full freedom. Yeah, Astronaut says they're giving out free money. How can you say no? Well, you can say no if it's free money with strings attached, which suggests you're not going to have the kind of freedom you want. but it sounds like that's not the case at all. Again, real quick, letting you know, if you want to call in and talk, the Discord is open. I will bring you on the show. Bobby Burns says, yeah, but Jaffe, Returnal's coming. Yeah, it is. I'm interested. Deathloop looks great. Deathloop 2 won't be coming, but yeah, Ratchet and Clank looks phenomenal. And the new, I'm not suggesting that, here's what I was going to say. I'm not suggesting that Sony PS, I have one. It's right. Here's my DualSense. I love this system. Okay. I love it. I'm not shitting on it. But what I'm saying is when you look at the deals, the collective deals that Xbox is making, whether it's third-party indies, whether it's $60 indies like Outriders, like fucking Dirt 5, or whether it's all these fucking first-party games, Destroyer, don't call if you don't want to. I don't need you to call. If you have something you want to say, that's all I'm saying. I just don't want you to miss that opportunity if you have something different on this. And the first-party games from the studios that they own. Just think about that. Think about the fact that sooner than later, you're going to be waking up and going, what's on Game Pass this week, right? So all those titles you just mentioned with Sony, I mean, really, it's like Joe Biden. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding, folks. Listen, I'm really not kidding, though. I want you to think about what that feels like. Right now, we are waiting for another Sony first party. I mean, if Returnal was released on the PS4 a year and a half ago, nobody would be going, oh my God, I can't wait for Returnal. It looks fine, and it's only exciting because Housemarque is a phenomenal developer. And because the PlayStation 5 has a lack, not as bad as Xbox, but a lack of first-party exclusives, okay? But don't tell me that you're looking at Returnal and going, oh my God, that looks amazing. It looks fun. And I like the whole haunted house aspect to it. It may be game of the year. But Returnal is exciting in the same way that Cruisin' USA was exciting because it was one of the 5 or 8 launch titles on the goddamn N64 and it sold 1 million copies. It's not like people were like, oh my God, Cruisin' USA, that's the greatest fucking thing ever. You know that's true, okay? So imagine turning on Xbox Game Pass when this spigot starts to open. And I'm not saying they'll all be bangers because, again, I don't know what's up with these people managing dev teams. They ain't so good at it. But you turn on that spigot, you turn on that hose, and every week, here's a new game. Here's 2 new games the next week. Oh shit, we're getting into the holidays. Boom, you want a fucking a September explosion of new software? Not a problem, pal. Here's 8 games in September, brand new day one. That is the cadence they are working towards, okay? If you don't see the value in that, and if you don't see why Sony needs to get on the goddamn ball, you're out of your goddamn mind. You're not wrong. Sod Returnal still looks much better than the Medium. Yeah, the Medium I didn't care for at all. I liked it. I liked what it was trying to be. It wasn't a great game. It was not even a really good game. And Jam, I'm not saying Returnal doesn't look fresh. I'm not knocking Returnal. I'm saying that I don't think Returnal is the kind of game that if it wasn't for this particular perfect storm of lack of exclusives and a great developer and the fact that we're at a beginning of a generation and everyone's excited for anything on the new system, it's not inherently sexy. Destruction All-Stars, which I did like, is not inherently sexy. Okay, it's good. I think it's good, but most people wouldn't. The number of people who played it wouldn't have played it if it was on PS4 only. Same with Sackboy's Big Adventure, which is a much better platformer in my opinion. Astrobot on PS5 or whatever. Is it called Astrobot? I know there's the VR one, but you know what I'm talking about. But most people would have not given it the time of day. It would have been like another Tearaway if it had come out in PS4. Okay, so I'm just saying, Returnal would be a great day one PS Now title, right? I don't know what it costs to make, but it would be a great day one PS Now title. Soap says, I want new ideas. I think we all want new ideas. Absolutely. Eli the Realist says, thanks for keeping it real, Jaffe. They wouldn't care at any other time. That's right. I mean, hardcore gamers might care because Housemarque is an amazing game developer. They are absolutely wonderful. But I would tell you that the average gamer who buys $60, $70 games is not going to give a shit about Returnal if it wasn't coming out when it was coming out, unless it just gets raves, and it might because Housemarque's amazing. Xbox is a bit lax on pushing out leaks immediately rather than waiting. I'm not sure I understand that anomaly. Saber says, "Are you nuts?" Saber says, "I love Tearaway. I love Tearaway. I'm not knocking the game. I'm talking about sales. Can I give you a hint about the news coming?" Forget Me Not says, "I really don't know what you're talking about, sir." How can you call in? Thank you for the super chat, buddy. I'm going to do this for you. It's coming up. It should be coming up in the chat. If it's not, this is the link to the Discord, okay? Join the Discord, and you can put yourself in a room called the Last of Us 2 room, and I will bring you onto the show, and you can talk about what you're interested in. There you go. We keep talking about exclusives, says Maxim, but do exclusives alone win a console war? No, but they make a hell of a big difference. And I don't think that I don't think when we're talking Game Pass, we're talking exclusives being the secret sauce, although it's a big part of it. I think we're talking about the value proposition of it. David, is it big enough news that we will know what you are talking about? Oh, yes. Housemarque is great at moment-to-moment gameplay. Baby, you don't have to sell me on Housemarque. Housemarque is phenomenal. Housemarque is absolutely phenomenal. I know they're great. I'm just talking about the commercial viability. One of the best PS4 games is still Resogun. There's no doubt. Jaffe says, Kingo, I like how you keep it real with everything. Not many people do that. Sir, I'm going to be honest. I would absolutely love to act like that's something that I can be proud of. It's just apathy. You get to a certain age, you have enough success where you don't covet that kind of success anymore. And then you just say, fuck it. I'm just going to fucking do whatever the fuck I want to do. It's apathy. It's nothing more. I will get to you, Dr. Emmett Brown, one moment. I have 2 super chats I want to get to first. The first one is, hang on a minute. This is from Shinda. Thank you so much. As a PS fan since PS1, says Shinda, Jim Ryan made me get an Xbox. I would love some clarification on that, Shinda. Are you saying because of what I'm saying that the decisions that you see Jimbo Ryan making, you feel are indicative of a company that is no longer the PlayStation you love? Or is there another reason that Jimbo Ryan made you get an Xbox? I'm curious about that, because what I don't agree with that a lot of fans talk about is Jim Ryan is not good on stage. He doesn't have a great. Who gives a shit? You're not trying to fuck him. You know, you're trying to get him to sell you shit that you want to buy with your ducats, right? So I don't understand that. But if you're saying that it's a representation of a company that is kind of stuck in the creative doldrums, then yeah, I'm down with you. I agree with that. Well, I don't agree with that. I agree that it seems with every piece of news they may be heading in that direction. I don't know if that's true. That may not be true. When you've got Corey Barlog on the payroll, when you've got Eric Williams on the payroll, when you've got Neil Druckmann, when you've got Insomniac, when you've got the Days Gone guys, when you've got Ghost Tsushima, to paint this company as a company is out of creative energy, I think is bullshit. I think if they come across lately as a company that is out of creative energy, it's simply because they are getting so big that the moves that at least we're allowed to see at the moment. Now, this could all change the minute they reveal a bunch of new games, but the games that we're allowed to see at the moment just feel so terribly safe. Fasal 007 says, Jaffe, have you played the Broken Sword franchise? Back in the day, I played 1 and 2, not to the end. It's like a point-and-click adventure game set in Europe, kind of Indiana Jones meets just kind of an average everyman dude reporter. They were okay. They didn't thrill me. Golf franchise drops super chat. Emmett Brown, I'll bring you in a second. Thank you, buddy. It's good to see you again. I haven't seen you in a while. He says, Jaffe, hey, stranger, Sony and Konami. I appreciate it, bud. Seriously, it's very generous. Sony and Konami have been working on the definitive Metal Gear Solid remake collection. This is Sony saying this, and I think the rumor is Blue Point's doing it, right? 1 to 3 and remastered 4K TBA release date. Plus, you got Sony making the MGS movie with Voight Roberts and Kojima. Again, this is not high school where if you sit at one person's table, you're no longer in the cool club. This is business. How many directors make movies all over town at different studios? Do you think The Rock only makes movies for Paramount? The Rock goes where his bread is buttered, baby. The Rock's like making a movie right now with Warner Brothers. He's making Black Adam. You think of the MCU, unless he has something in his contract that says he can't be in the MCU if he's in the DCU, you think he's not going to go be in a fucking Marvel movie? So yeah, I have heard the Blue Point rumor. It hasn't been announced. But yeah, it's possible. And Kojima could even go like, oh, I'm going to add some stuff to it. That'd be great too. That doesn't mean he's not going to jump at creative freedom given to him by Phil Spencer, if that is true. Yeah, Sean Layden on stage was great down Phoenix. Shuhei was great. You know who was great? Kevin Butler. Kevin Butler wasn't real though. It's not relevant. If that's all you want in a CEO, they should just fucking hire somebody. It'd be like Milli Vanilli if you're old. You know what I'm talking about. That's fine. But it'd be like Milli Vanilli. Look it up. Google it. Or how about this one if you're really old? It'd be like Cyrano de Bergerac if you're really fucking old. You would just hire a great person who's charismatic as fuck and tell that person to say this shit. But, you know. Oh, come on, baby. What am I doing with this? Rokuttinson 6 says, thank you for super chat. He says, you're not letting me join. I have to wait the whole 10 minutes. Send me a private message. That might do it. I do that because some people call in and they troll like a motherfucker. So I have to kind of keep track of that. This is Dr. Emmett Brown calling. I don't know if he's calling from 1955 or 1985 or from the Wild West, but regardless, Dr. Brown, it's always good to talk to you. What's up, baby? Dr. Brown, where are you at? Come on now. Maybe he's calling from the Old West. Maybe he's sending smoke signals. All right, well, you're on. If you want to talk, let's do it. Milli Vanilli never really sang the songs. That's right, Joe. Joe knows. Joe knows. MDP official knows. You goddamn right. Who is this hitting me up? This is The Truth. Okay, let me accept this. Let me bring him on real quick. 1 second. This is The Truth. He wants to call in. Here we go. And then I will bring you on in a second, Emmett Brown. But for some reason, I can't hear you right now. The Truth, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's up, man?
I just wanted to speak on I have like an issue with the fact that like you continuously sell Game Pass, which is not not sell, but promote Game Pass, which is not an issue.
Yeah, I love Game Pass.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you. That's not an issue at all. What I do have an issue with is the simple fact that you act as if Sony isn't prepared to make that switch.
No, I don't act that way. I've said time and again that people who are writing Jim Ryan's obituary are way premature. We had the guy on the show yesterday that had made the petition to fire Jim Ryan. And I'm like, dude, that's way premature because Jim Ryan doesn't owe anybody, Sony doesn't owe anybody the truth about what's coming and what their counterpunch to Game Pass is. What I can tell you is I know they are doing some stuff because I know people at Sony who have told me that they are doing some stuff. There will be a response to Game Pass. What it is, we don't know. So here's what I would say I worry about. If Jim Ryan thinks the proper response to Game Pass is to emulate backwards compatibility PS3 games, PS2, PS1, and then to also add trophies, which is what that patent suggests they're going to do, and they're also going to fold in all the movies and shit and make a streaming service, he's absolutely wrong. If he thinks that, mixing it with PS Now, that would make me go, I don't think the man has a clue. Because that's not going to compete with Game Pass. But I don't know if that's the case. But I don't think Jim Ryan's ready to throw under the bus at all.
No, I don't have an issue with Jim Ryan. I could care less about Jim Ryan. I saw the show with the guy that wanted the thing. My issue is more so with the simple fact that you constantly say things like, and I guess it's the wording for me that bothers me most.
Right.
Is like PlayStation has to have what's the wording? It's
A counter
they have to
punch.
not a counterpunch. That would be fine if you're saying a counterpunch or they have to adjust and make better. Because the reality is, Sony did it first. Sony's always known this is the way it was going to go.
Wait.
Hold on, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point.
You haven't made your point because you haven't made it. Sony did what first?
No, I mean I haven't got to. But
Sony did what first?
Sony knows the gaming network. I know it's streaming, but regardless, is the gaming as a Netflix type service. They followed the exact Netflix model that didn't work. Okay, we understand that they did that in 3 years before the 2 or 3 years before the PlayStation 3 was even done.
Wait a minute.
So it wasn't like Sony.
I'm going to let you finish your point, but you're making a lot of statements that I just need to get clarification on. So I'm not trying to interrupt you. I'm trying to understand. When you're talking about when Sony bought Gaikai, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And they said,
"Yeah, I'm just talking about PlayStation now." Period.
Okay, but PlayStation. Okay, but the Netflix service was a buffet service from the beginning. PlayStation Now at the beginning actually was rentals, but you're saying, remember that you used to be able to rent games on PlayStation Network for like a month, and then they said it's going to go to be like Netflix. So you're talking about when they changed and became pay us this month a month, and you can play whatever we have on PS Now streaming. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yes, they got there first. Absolutely.
They got there first. And so Sony had already, I'm pretty sure, the business people at Sony had already known that this was going to be the way. I appreciate Microsoft, and I think Game Pass is phenomenal because without Game Pass, PlayStation Now would have still been trash. It was very bad when it first started.
I think you're right.
And when Game Pass came out, it forced Sony to I feel like when Sony did the PlayStation Now and it didn't work, and then they went full streaming as it, is somewhat now, it didn't work. They decided to not quit, but kind of let somebody else do it. Because as you say, they don't have the money to make as many mistakes as Microsoft. They have money to make mistakes, but not even close to what Microsoft can make.
And they already know how to win. They're winning with the formula that works. Why fuck it up right now? The reason they have to fuck it up, they have to fuck it up now though, because they're about to have their lunch eaten for them. But up until recently, they're like, okay, it would be nice if all these little things worked, but fuck it. We know what works for us, and it makes us shit tons of money. Stick with that, fellas. So yeah.
But I don't agree that they're about to have their lunch eaten. To me, I get that you're not very fond of PlayStation Now as much as you are Game Pass, because you feel because your idea is they have their exclusives coming day and date, which to me doesn't really matter because at this moment, if you look at it right now, they haven't had any really dope exclusives.
I think you're not. Yeah, but that's not correct. That's not a correct assessment of why I love Game Pass.
No, I was just saying, just period. I know you like it. You said you like the indie. I remember I watch your show continuously. You like the indies. I appreciate that. You like the new games. I'm just saying in general, everybody that gets on the Xbox Kool-Aid with the Game Pass is always pretty much day and date exclusive, and they have a good amount of newer titles that come out day and date, which are mostly indies in nature anyway. Which is your thing, so that's
okay. So there's three pillars of Game Pass that excite people who love it, and some people only like one of those pillars. I happen to like all three. Pillar number one is exclusives, the promise of exclusives. Right? I'm not one of these. Mm-hmm. I'm not one of these. Oh, just wait. I get it. People have been waiting on Xbox a long goddamn time, and I made a video 4 months ago that got me blocked by Phil Spencer saying the man sucks at managing. They should have.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right, they should have fucking launched with shit. Fuck that shit, right? But that is a part of it. When you look at all the companies they've bought, from Bethesda and all that they bring to it, to Tim Schafer's company, they're gonna be able to figure that out, even if it's just in spite of their own bad management. So part of it's exclusives. Pillar number two is indies. They just announced they're gonna launch 40 indies day one. But the third part of it, which is we're only now starting to see, are third-party $60 games day one. Right now you're seeing Outriders. Now you're seeing Dirt 5. Dirt 5 wasn't day one, but it was pretty fucking close. You can't get that on PS Now. PS Now's closest thing is, hey, look, we have Avengers, but it's not the newest version of Avengers. You've got MLB coming day one. Now, certainly if Jim Ryan wakes up and puts MLB on, I mean, can you imagine the shitstorm if MLB is $60 or $70 day one on PS5 and 4, but you get it day one on Game Pass for free? Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about. It's just
for $15. I hate when people say it's for free. That's like saying PlayStation Now is free.
Okay,
I mean, not PlayStation Now, but PlayStation Plus is.
I understand, but come on, you know that.
I told you, it's wording just for me. I'm sorry. I said that in the beginning.
I understand, but the wording of it, when I say free, let me be clear. It feels free. I know it's not free. Part of the psychological trick, part of the reason subscriptions are so successful is it's out of sight, out of mind. So yes, it's not really free. But the whole point, or one of the whole points, is it's a psychological trick. It's like charging $9.99 for something instead of $10. I know that it's basically $10, but the lizard brain part of me thinks it's free, even though intellectually, of course, it's not free. That's where a big part of its power is. So when people push back and say it's not really free, yes, we know it's not really free. But intellectually, it's not really free. Psychologically, it's free as fuck. But anyway, was that your point? I appreciate your call, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, buddy. All right, see you, Truth. All right, I'm going to bring in Dr. Emmett Brown. Dr. Brown, come on now. Are you there? Are you there, sir? In the meantime, let me get some super chats. Is Yoshida, says Fasal007, thank you, sir. Is he the architect of the way Sony's going now? No. Yoshida is one of those last defenders of the Sony that you know and that you love. Yoshida is the guy who is still born and bred he bleeds PS4 blue. No. That's why he's doing indies now, right? Yoshida's the guy who misses as much as he hits, but who gives a shit? Because when he hits, it's brilliant, and when he misses, it's brilliant as well. So no, I would not say that that's correct. August Blade, thank you very much for the super chat, pal. He says, Jaffe, I love your games and all the hard work. I appreciate you loving the games I've worked on with massive teams, but thank you on behalf of all of us. And you acknowledge all the hard work you and the teams did. Yes. Thank you for all the good times I had. Do you still keep up with the Team Alliance people? I had a falling out. If you don't know, Team Alliance was, and I guess remains to some extent, kind of a hardcore PlayStation Twisted Metal fan thing. And I had a falling out with them, and they have their own version of the truth. I have my own version of the truth. My version of the truth is some of them were dicks, and some of them were really critical towards Twisted Metal 2012. And I don't mind them being critical, but they were like, there were two reasons I had a falling out with these guys. The first one was there was a sense of entitlement, like you should have listened to us and done this, and we showed you this and this and that, and you didn't do it. And I'm like, well, I don't work for you, bitch. So sorry, I made the game, and Scott made the game, and the team made the game we wanted to make. It sucks you didn't like it. I feel for you. I love Indiana Jones, but I thought Crystal Skull was a piece of shit. But Steven Spielberg and George Lucas don't work for me. It's their character. They can do what they want with them, right? That's one reason. The other reason that I had a falling out with these guys is I went home to watch my father die. Okay, the game had come out. This was September 2012. The game had been out almost a year. I went home. My dad died of congestive heart failure. I was home in September, and that was the last time. No, I was home at the end of September or mid-October, and he died a week later. I got to go home and be with my dad. Okay. I had people from Team Alliance emailing me, why don't you respond to this video we put up? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? And I'm like, dude, my dad is dying. I'll deal with it when I get back to Santa Monica or San Diego or whatever. Now is not the time. And some of them, not all of them, some of them were very understanding. Oh shit, I'm sorry, Jaffe, I didn't know. Understood. And some of them were fucking dicks about it. So I'm just like, you know what? This is too toxic for me. No, thank you. That's basically what happened. So no, I do not keep up with the Team Alliance people at all. Okay. Fellas, I will take whatever calls you want to give me. Otherwise, that's all I got to say about this topic at the moment. And the reason that's all I've got to say about this topic is I need to get some sleep because, hang on oh shit. I need to get some sleep because tomorrow, I'm pretty sure I'll be doing a stream. Dr. Brown, are you there, sir? You have the floor, baby. Dr. Brown is literally right here in the chat. He is muted. He keeps dropping out. So, but tomorrow I will almost be guaranteeing you, I will be doing a stream about some news. In fact, hang on a minute. I got to listen to something that just came across my phone that may be relevant to our lives together. But let me get these super chats first. Dan says, what makes fanboys feel they have to defend corporation? It's tribalism. It feels like everyone gets culty about everything. It's weird. Dan, that's because you're a grown-ass man, sir, or a grown-ass goddamn adult. Okay? I think fandom, and I've said this before, I'm working on it now. It just takes a while to get a therapist to agree. You know, you don't want one of these like cheesy therapists. You want a good fucking therapist. I have a therapist who's going to come on the show, a psychologist, and talk about this because I find it fascinating. I am with you, Dan. It's like being a fan of something and arguing with other fans is fun, right? It's fun to go, let's debate Star Trek Next Generation versus Star Trek. It's fun to talk about, is Jaffe washed up and irrelevant? He hasn't made a really great hit game for a long time. Those are fun things that fans do, okay? But when it crosses the line from that kind of fun, we love this stuff, but we're all still friends, and really people take it serious, that is when I start to wonder. Like, I have family that loves Alabama football. I adore Auburn football. When Auburn wins against Alabama, and it's a good win, I sometimes shed a tear. Not because I'm a fucking moron, but because it represents something to me. It represents my dad. It represents my life in Alabama growing up, which I loved. It represents the underdog because Auburn is perpetually the underdog. But end of the day, it's not like I don't love my friends and family who are Alabama fans. It's a fun take the piss kind of thing. But there are times when it absolutely crosses the line, and you see it a lot in geek culture, like with the Zack Snyder toxic fans, or even with the fucking Last of Us 2 fans, which I am a big Last of Us 2 fan at this point. But when I spoke out against certain things I didn't like about it, holy shit. You would think I killed their fucking dog. So I don't know the answer, baby, but I need to find out, and I'm with you. It doesn't make sense. Sir Gallahan drops super chat. Thank you, pal. He says, how impactful or important is it to have good producers management on a project? How involved were Connie Booth and Grady Hunt on the development side? It is everything. Okay. As a guy, I would be the most creative homeless guy under the overpass going, let me pitch you this thing I want to make called God of War. If it wasn't for Shannon, if it wasn't for Alan. Now, I'm not saying I don't bring a lot to the table. If it wasn't for Scott Campbell on Twisted Metal. Because look, without me, Sony Santa Monica would be making Kinetica, or they probably wouldn't be in business because somebody over there greenlit Kinetica and thought it was a good idea. And I was saying, this is not a good idea. And then they would have just kept going and they'd be out of business. Okay. You got to have both sides of the coin. But if you don't have the producers that are good managing creative people and all of their craziness, and there is crazy. And if you are curious really about this, Google Shannon Studstill, or YouTube, Google search Shannon Studstill talk or something, or speech. She gives a wonderful speech. It was during the time her and I weren't even talking because I was so fucking mad at her. And I hated her. I didn't hate her, but I was so heartbroken by certain things that happened between us. Thank God we've made up, because she's one of my favorite people on the planet. But she gives a great speech about creative management. So yes, I have never been managed by Connie or Grady. I hear nothing but great things about Grady Hunt, who is basically Connie's kind of number one if Connie is Picard. Yeah, I mean, Connie's track record speaks for itself. Let me let me just say Connie's brilliant. Connie's, if you don't know Connie, it's, you know, she manages the Naughty Dog guys and the Insomniac games, and I mean, she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's fucking doing. So, and Grady, my understanding, I've never worked with either one of them in that capacity. I only really know Connie as a human, and I love her as a human. She's very sweet, very nice, but I've never had the pleasure of sort of working directly with her for her. But that's what I would say. Let me bring in Will real quick. Will, are you there? It's Jaffe. Will, are you there, pal? What is the deal tonight? Can you guys not get on? I'm bringing people on all the time, and now you guys are muted. It says your mic is muted, Will, so I'm here for you if you want me. Let me listen to this. I'm not going to hang up or anything, but I just got a text voice mail, and I want to see if this is relevant to something I need to share with you guys. Alex says, I hope Shannon is thriving. I know right now Shannon is chilling. She's trying to figure out what's up in her life, and she's in one of those wonderful places you get where you're going, what am I going to do with my creative life? She's a trooper, and I think she's doing pretty goddamn well. This is El Pio. I love that. I always laugh. Thank you for the super chat. He says, could Drawn to Death have been done well under the Game Pass model? Drawn to Death suffered mostly because I didn't know, honestly, what multiplayer hardcore shooters wanted. Okay? I wanted it. And the people who played it and, quote, got it and liked it wanted it. But it presented as one thing that it wasn't. And when those fans that we needed, which were shooter fans, came to it, it wasn't what they expected, and they abandoned it in droves. And that was a bad call on my part. There's a lot of guilt to go around about why Drawn to Death didn't work. But I will tell you, the only guilt I lay at Sony's feet, because those motherfuckers gave me carte blanche, was I should have been more suspicious when all of the focus testing came back consistently positive, right? I'm going to tell you a little story here, and it's going to sound terrible, and it's going to sound sexist, but it's the goddamn truth, okay? Most of the focus groups, we got great numbers from the focus groups that did not pan out when reviewers and other gamers got their hands on it. And that's weird, right? So the only thing I can tell you is when I look back at a lot of the focus groups that I was either at or I was watching remote, I'm just going to tell you the truth, and this sounds terrible, but it's true. The moderator of some of these focus groups, almost all these focus groups I was at, was really cute. She was a good-looking woman, and she was really cute. Okay, and I know you're like, Jaffe, what the fuck, dude? I know how it sounds. But when you're dealing with 4 to 8, mostly guys, I assume just because statistically most guys are straight, you're dealing with mostly straight guys in a room with a girl who's really cute and really charismatic, and she breaks off and has one-on-ones with you and stuff, and she's like, don't fucking worry about it, fellas. I'm not making the game. You can tell me whatever you want. I'm sorry, but that affects the score. It just fucking does, right? Because how else do you explain consistent, great scores from the focus testers, and then it comes out and gamers just, for the most part, not all, but for the most part, shit all over it. I'm not suggesting that's what happened, but it makes a lot of goddamn sense. So, but that's not Sony's fault, but I didn't pick up on it. Sony didn't pick up on it, and we were all flabbergasted because we were going in to launch with Drawn to Death with numbers that were really fucking good. Okay, that's all I'll say. Why would I get Me Too'd for that? That's what happened. Alex, I don't think you're wrong. If Phil was, I don't know if Shannon would do it, but Alex in the chat says if Phil was smart, he would hit up Shannon as well. Yeah, he absolutely would. He would hit up Shannon. If Sony was smart, they'd go back to Shannon. Maybe they have, I don't know, and say, please, here is a bucket of money. You do great at this. Please come and build some shit for us. She's phenomenal. She's fucking phenomenal. Absolutely. I see a lot of new viewers watching the stream, says Joe. I wonder if they know how incredible it is to be a member. Lots of great perks. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. JoJo D ain't wrong. JoJo D, in fact, I have ads I need to run, but I don't have them set up yet. If you come to the stream tomorrow, though, and you should, because wait and see, you'll know why you want to come. Let's just put it this way. I'll be up at 6 a.m. to see if I need to start streaming. Okay? That's all I'm saying. But let me listen to this voicemail. I'm going to put you guys on mute for a moment. Again, call in if you want. I'm going to put you on mute for a moment because I'm supposed to listen to this voicemail real quick. Let me listen to it and see if it's relevant to what is happening on a stream that I might be doing soon. One moment. But I will be right back. I'm not going anywhere. I gotta mute you. Jack Green says, what's your experience working with legal? I'll tell you in a second. Ask me that again when I come back. 1 second, buddy. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, fellas. Lord. Okay. So, okay, we'll talk soon. We'll talk soon. Will, are you there? Can you hear me? Come on, Will. Where you at, pal? All right. Well, all I can tell you is I will be doing a stream again very, very soon. Here's what's going on. Here's what's going on. There's a stream coming up probably tomorrow. Just keep your ears to the train tracks, fellas. I can't bring in Will 23. It's not working. If you want to call in though, before we wrap it up, now's the time. But I was just listening to something somebody sent me and I'm like, yeah, okay, something's going to happen, whatever. I just can't say anything. Just trust me. Come on. I'm not a liar. Come on. Whenever I say come on, I think of Joe Biden now. Come on. But we'll talk. Okay, that'll happen. In the meantime, though, listen, video is going to go up very soon, tomorrow or Friday, which is really, I think it's really cool if you like God of War. It is 10 things even hardcore fans don't know about God of War. It's a really fun video. I'm not trying to tease Alex. I just can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. It's got nothing to do with me going back and making games. Folks, that's right. Nothing about that. I can't give you... You know what, Saber Zero? All I will tell you is I have already told you exactly what it is. Okay? But I can't help it if you can't find Halliday's Easter egg, okay? But I will tell you when I tell you, and you'll go, shit, Jaffe, you told us exactly what it was. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Okay? But keep an ear to the tracks. Okay, so the video's coming tomorrow about God of War or Friday. This stream is coming. If you want to join our membership, we are going to be playing Outriders this week. I might be playing it tonight, actually. But also we are doing movie night coming up this week. The first movie's for members. The second movie's for anybody. Pot and Popcorn will be Saturday night. Maybe it'll be sooner. We'll see. But there's a lot going on, so stick around if you're new to the chat. Hit the like only if you liked it. If you didn't like it, don't fucking hit the goddamn like at all. I don't want your fucking pity likes. But if you liked it, great. If you want to come back for more, hit subscribe. If you want to hit subscribe, what you should do is hit subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now listen. Hit the notification bell. Do not hit personal notification. Hit notification. What do you mean you're on right now? I'm here. I don't see anybody in the voice chat. What do you mean you're on? I'm not giving any more hints, Victor. I just can't, baby. I can't. It's nothing. It's messy. It's sad. It's not like, I don't want to get, it's not like, oh no, they're making Parappa 4. It's nothing like that. It's more one of those how the sausage gets made, and it's not good. It's not bad. It's just kind of like, oh, it's one of those kind of things. You're not, don't think you're going to, it's not like E3 hype and, oh no, we're going to be announcing, Silent Hill. It's not that at all. All right, fellas, I'm out. I'm exhausted. I got to go eat. But thank you guys for the super chats, for the conversations. Rob, thank you so much for hanging out and modding this goddamn motley crew of all so-and-sos. I really do appreciate it, fellas. I will be back very soon, but for now, I gots to eat, and I'll see you guys soon. Be safe out there, everyone. Thank you for the super chats, and even if, thank you for the great conversation.